Hello and welcome to SYNLAB podcast. My name is Patsy Mokungah and I'll be your host. On this podcast series, we're going to be unveiling a very interesting topic, systemic lupus erythematosus, also known as SLA, or just more popularly called lupus. In delving into this very interesting topic, I have with me the very prestigious Dr. Ayodele Faleye. Hello, ma.
Hi.
I'm very, very, very glad to have you here today. Thank you for accepting our invitation. You look wonderful, and I'm very, very glad that we're wearing the same color.
Thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome.
You're welcome. So I'd like to introduce our guest to our audience more formally by reading her biography, her very impressive biography. It says here that Dr. Ayodele Faleye is a pediatric rheumatologist and a consultant pediatrician at the Department of Pediatrics, Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, LASUTH, in Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. She commenced rheumatology first with the adult rheumatology unit of LASUTH and later had her pediatric rheumatology training at the University of Cape Town, South Africa, and Alda Hayes Children's Hospital in Liverpool. She is the pioneer of pediatric rheumatology in Nigeria and the first consultant pediatrician in the field of pediatric rheumatology in West Africa. Very impressive. She is the General Secretary of Pediatric Society of the African League Against Rheumatism and also a member of the Nigerian Society of Rheumatology, the Pediatric Rheumatology European Society, and American College of Rheumatology. She has a keen interest in lupus and very rare connective tissue disorders, which we're about to learn. Thank you for being here, Ma.
Thank you.
This is very impressive and very inspiring.
Thank you.
To see you pioneer so much in Nigeria and even in West Africa.
Thank you.
Without any further ado, I'd like to, dive into the topic we're here to discuss.
Yeah.
Ma, can you let our audience know, and me too, what is lupus and what are the types of lupus that we have?
Okay. Thank you for your question. I'm happy to be here with you. First, let me call the name in full. We call it systemic lupus erythematosus. So, but for the purpose of this discussion, we are going to be saying lupus, and some we call it SLE, When you say lupus, or when you mention lupus, or whenever that word comes up, what it means is that you are talking about an autoimmune disease. Auto means self. That means, and we all know about the immune system, that it helps to fight germs, diseases, in such a way that we don't break down every day. As we are seated here, there are so many germs that we cannot see with our eyes. We touch the table, we touch everywhere. But our immune system is functioning such a way that it fights against all these that we come across day to day. And but it is when they are unable to fight again that we now come down with some infections, and by the time we take medications, everything settles down. Then the immune system too gets memory. In case you come across that thing the next time, you may not fall that sick again. But unfortunately, in some individuals, once the immune system looks at the body itself, starts seeing the body as the enemy, and start fighting the body seriously, like a war. Imagine the immune system now fighting with the brain, fighting with the kidneys, till that organ is totally gone.
Oh, wow.
So lupus is an autoimmune disease, and it is lifelong, and it is multisystemic. Multisystemic in the sense that almost all organs in the body.
I was just about to ask which organ it focuses on.
Yes. So I will give you the full definition later. I'm just trying to take the difficult words one by one so that by the time I now come with the full sentence, everybody now understands what I'm saying. It's multisystemic, the brain, the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, the skin, the hair, and every part of the body, or any organ in the body, including the joints, could be affected. And now it is lifelong. And if not diagnosed early, it is life-threatening. So let me now put everything together.
Okay.
It is an autoimmune disease that is multisystemic, chronic, and life-threatening. So that is the definition of lupus. Now, you also asked me about the types.
Yes.
Let me classify it first based on age. We have the adult lupus, from the age of 18 and upwards. We have what we call the juvenile lupus too. That occurs in children. Then we have another one that we call the neonatal lupus syndrome. That one occurs in babies of mothers with lupus who has certain antibodies in their blood. I'll delve more into antibodies later. What do I mean by that? Or let me quickly talk about it. That when you talk about antibodies, everybody has it. When you're exposed to something, the immune system produces antibodies against whatever, to fight against the disease. So now, when you talk about the disease lupus, that means this particular individual with it has some antibodies, but those antibodies are not good. They are not fighting infection anymore. Those antibodies, when they are present, they target the organs. So sometimes, when you talk about neonatal lupus, neonatal means the first 28 days of life. Neonatal lupus syndrome. That means babies that are manifesting symptoms of lupus. So it occurs in children of mothers with lupus with certain antibodies. They pass it across to their babies during our pregnancy.
So that means this can be like genetically transferred?
Yes, it can, but that is not for neonatal lupus syndrome. It's transient.
Okay.
It's just because of antibodies the mother transferred. So
it can just
within 6 months, all symptoms resolves. And that doesn't mean the baby will have lupus later.
Okay.
So that's another type. Then another type is a drug-induced lupus. We have there are some medications an individual can take that can, trigger symptoms of lupus in the individual. And once you discontinue the medications, the symptoms will disappear. Yes. So I can classify it based on that. And another way to still classify it is based on the organ that is affected. We can talk about cutaneous lupus when it is maybe limited to just the skin. Then when it has affected organs in the body, then we can further classify it. Some will say neurolupus for the brain. Some will say renal lupus for the kidneys or lupus nephritis, on and on. We keep classifying like that.
Oh, that's very many classifications of lupus. It's like it's standing in the room with us. Okay, so far we have learned that lupus is an autoimmune disease.
Yes.
It is chronic.
Yes.
Chronic means that it's
lifelong.
It's lifelong.
Yes.
And there was the last one you said.
It is multisystemic.
It is multisystemic.
Affects all organs in the body.
Affects all other organs. We've also learned that it can affect almost anybody of any age.
Yes.
From neonatals to children. Well, neonatals is transient.
Is a transient thing,
yes.
And not all their babies have it. Depends on that antibodies I mentioned.
Okay, so that has been so much information. I'm sure our audience have learned a lot from all that you've said so far. And the way you broke it down, amazingly, I think anybody would be able to understand. I'm sure that you would want to hear more and more and more about this because we started on a very high note. I know you want to hear more. Stay tuned in. We're going to come back with even more information about lupus. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, tell people about SYNLAB podcast. We'll be back again next episode.